Your ability to build wealth and start a six, seven, and nine figure brand directly correlates with your sense of self. You listen to learn, you learn to apply, you apply to master a process to build wealth. You work to earn, you earn to save, you save to invest, and you invest to build wealth. You must take ownership of this. They say that success leaves clues. Can anyone explain the true meaning of this statement? What are the clues to start and scale seven-figure brands? What are the clues to build wealth? And what are the clues to embrace a better quality of life? Today, I will unveil success leave clues. Bernie Sanders is a highly influential U.S. Senator. On the 28th of December 2024, he made a very profound statement via Forbes News. His statements laid the foundation to explain to the world the reality of millions of Americans. His statement explained the condition that so many millions of Americans are forced to live under. The big question I must ask you, are those statements the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? In today's podcast, I will seek to provide information based on the statement Bernie Sanders would have said, which I believe is the truth, that reflects the conditions that millions of Americans are forced to live under. But I will also expand this reality because the facts will show that it is not only millions of Americans that are forced to live under these conditions pointed out by Bernie Sanders, but you have millions of people all across the world who are forced to live under similar conditions. The facts presented by Bernie Sanders is the truth, but is the whole truth and nothing else but the truth. Again, in today's podcast, I will attempt to give the other side of the truth that I believe will transform your life. And I trust that as you listen to the truth, you listen to learn, you learn to apply, you apply to master, and you master to position yourself to affect change, positive change in your lives. Be blessed. Do enjoy this podcast.
Take this opportunity to wish everybody a very happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. As we come to the end of 2024, it might be helpful to take a hard look at where we are as a nation and how we can best go forward. And let me be honest with you in saying that we are in an extraordinarily pivotal and volatile moment in American history, and things are moving very, very rapidly. The most important point that I want to stress today is how fast our country is evolving into an oligarchic society and into two very different Americas. On one hand, we have an America that consists of less than 1,000 billionaires, not a whole lot of people in a nation of 340 million, who have an unprecedented amount of wealth and power and have never, ever had it so good. That's one America. The other America, where the vast majority of our people live, consists of tens of millions of families who are struggling to put food on the table, pay their bills, and worry that their kids will have a lower standard of living than they do. In the first America, the uber wealthy buy $500 million yachts, $270 million mansions. They have private islands all to themselves. They got fleets of jets to take them all over the world. And occasionally they take cool trips on rocket ships that blast off to the edge of outer space. A lot of fun. They also receive the best health care money can buy, and they send their kids to the very best private schools and colleges in the world. In this America, the three wealthiest men, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. Three people own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. And their wealth is skyrocketing. Musk alone is now worth over $4 $150 billion. And combined, these three men are now worth almost $1 trillion. In the other America, millions of Americans are struggling just to provide for the basic necessities of life. In this America, over 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck. Millions work for starvation wages. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured. And over 60,000 die each year because they can't afford to go to a doctor on time.
Your single source of income is literally what is keeping you poor. And in 2025, you want to commit your time, talent, and resources to change this reality. They lie to you when they say, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and your life will be set forever. A single source of income is undermining your potential to embrace wealth. Why? Because they didn't teach you how to work to earn to save to invest, and invest to build wealth. And many of you, although you're going to get this type of information, you're not listening to learn. You're not learning to apply. You're not applying to master, and you're not mastering a process to build wealth. I'm trusting that in 2025, you can now take your life into your hands and make a solid commitment to journey along a path that can position you to attain financial independence for yourself and your loved ones. To help you on this journey, we at Seven Figure Media, we have developed a unique platform of learning that is titled Your Income Audit Analytics. And what you need to ask yourself is, have you ever done the income audit analytics? Now, let me explain. The income audit analytics stands on 5 important pillars. It teaches you about the importance of doing your income analytics, your expenditure analytics, your balance sheet analytics, your future plan analytics, and it also helps you to understand the importance of smart investment strategies. Why is smart investment strategies so important? Because when you do the analytics, it is clearly showing to you that your single source of income is totally inadequate to provide you and your loved one with a quality of life that you know you are entitled to. Today, I will spend some time doing a deep dive into smart investment strategies, and I do invite you to come and join our community. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Become a member of the inner circle, where you can learn step-by-step approaches that you can use to position yourself to get to that point where you have financial independence. What exactly do I mean by that term, smart investment strategies? Today, we will be covering a lot of grounds. I want us to look at things like how to master income producing assets. We will look at how to master asset appreciation, how to master equity leverage, how to master asset accumulation, and how to master the wealth accumulation snowball. Yes, I know this might be unusual conversation, but it's this type of unusual conversation that can set you up to make your greatest financial breakthrough. And our greatest wish is to provide you with a content of information via Seven Figure Media that can set you on a path where you don't have to worry about cash flow, where you don't have to worry about income, because you understand smart ways of attracting investment capital. Now, let's begin today's program by looking at ways to master income producing assets. It is a fact that your single source of income is inadequate. So it makes a whole lot of sense to start asking yourself, what are the alternatives and additional approaches that you can use to generate income? And I'm going to go through a list of things for you to consider. And listen to me very carefully. I'm not saying get out there and do all of these things without the right information. Many of you may have to get a mentor. Many of you may have to get a coach. Many of you may have to get a sponsor. Many of you should join a supportive community that wants you to succeed financially. So things that you want to start learning about is ETFs. ETFs is called exchange trade funds. it's a portfolio that you can invest in and you walk away with dividend yield. And that's a source of income. So depending on where you are in the world, you may or may not have this portfolio. But I will examine a few other portfolios that regardless of where you are in the world, it is food for thoughts. ETFs gives you not only a portfolio to invest in, but it gives you the safety and security because of the spread of the investment. It significantly reduces risk and significantly increases your chance for dividend yield. So you are identifying portfolios today where the risk is very low in investment, looking at alternative sources of income. There's also Vanguard Index, and Vanguard Index operates similar to the ETF. Different approach, different, but yet similar. So in 2025, you want to commit your time, talent, and resources to learn some of these portfolios so you can position yourself to make highly informed and educated decisions of practical income streams that you can start to invest in. There's also the concept that we call FMCG ETFs, FMCG Vanguard Index. Now, why am I saying FMCG? FMCG means fast-moving consumer goods. Fast-moving consumer goods is a very unique investment portfolio. Why? Because you find people all across the world, they invest day in and day out in FMCG. So if you're looking for a portfolio that is going to give you positive cash flow day over day, week over week, month over month, year after year, if you can find or create an FMCG ETF or FMCG Vanguard Index, it is a smart investment move because this type of business is likely to have a high profit margin and higher dividend yield. Speak with your consultant, all right? If you don't have one, get one. Get a mentor, get a coach, get a sponsor, become part of a supportive community that can really help you to unlock these money-making moves. There's also the S&P 500. The S&P 500 may be the top 500 companies in the US or in the world. So when you put $500 into that portfolio, you have a spread of 500 companies that you're going to be investing in. This to significantly bring down your risk because if you have 20 companies that doesn't do well, if you have 100 companies that doesn't do well, you still have 400 companies that are going to be very profitable because the ETFs are not formed by the whims of someone's imagination. It is formed after lengthy data analysis so as to ensure that the portfolio is strong. And when they pitch that portfolio to you, you have the facts that is helping you to make better, smarter, wiser investment decisions. There's also real estate investment portfolios. Now, many of which I call, depending on where you are in the world, you may have never heard of them. If you have heard of them, you don't have access to them unless you know how to set up the account in your country, the merchant account, and leverage this account to access these portfolios. In spite of this, you have what is known as real estate investment. And yes, real estate investment is capital intensive, but you need to have the conversation. You need to start having the conversation. You need to start thinking about income producing assets because your single source of income for the majority of the people in the world is totally inadequate to help you elevate yourself to financial independence. For most of you, you will remain on the paycheck cycle. And I'm talking to highly educated people. I'm talking to people with a first degree. I'm talking to people with a master's degree. I'm talking to people perhaps with a double major. It's important to understand financial intelligence. It's important to invest in building up this mental muscle. You deserve it. Your loved one deserves the benefits of this. And our role is to provide you with that content of information. Now, real estate investment portfolio, it's a beautiful portfolio, all right? Why? Because it sets the stage to help you to attract multiple streams of income when you know what you're doing. And I'm saying to you that this type of conversation in 2025 should be normalized. You want to make this type of conversation more normal, more easy, more user-friendly in your quality circle. I want to talk a little bit about mastering asset appreciation. In the asset real estate, you have massive asset appreciation that is taking place. But do you know how to trigger those appreciation? And I'm going to share with you some things that you can do to trigger it. One, you can leverage what is known as forced appreciation. And every time you leverage forced appreciation, appreciation into this asset portfolio, it appreciates. And the reason understanding the appreciation that is taking place is because that appreciation can be leveraged. You can take out the equity, you can leverage the equity to what I will talk about later on, the wealth accumulation snowball. But if you're not having this conversation, you don't know these hacks, and these may be simple moves for some people to make that can really position you to attain a massive amount of wealth, financial independence. Then you have natural appreciation. Now, natural appreciation is different because, again, depending on where you are in the world, in most cases, when you invest in these real estate portfolios, whether you invest in it to enhance the looks, feel, and the ambience of that portfolio, or you do nothing, the asset appreciates. And when it appreciates, divorced from any outside investment, it is called natural appreciation. Yes, you may have to wait longer for this to take place because in the case of forced appreciation, that you can literally control the timeline in which you want that appreciation to take place. In terms of the natural appreciation, you have less control over this. But understanding how these assets appreciate plays into your ability, plays into your knowledge to leverage this opportunity to create additional financial leverage. So let me talk exactly now about this financial leverage. So we talk about a few things here, and we're doing this deep dive into real estate portfolio, secondary sources of income. So you have the real estate portfolios. You now leverage for natural appreciation. And the way you're going to leverage this is by really understanding how to master equity leverage. Master equity leverage. Now, there's two types of equity leverage that I want us to look at here today. In the case that you have a real estate portfolio, there's the concept that we call the HELOC. HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. So whether you are taking out equity based on force or natural appreciation, once it is associated to your personal home, it is called an HELOC, Home Equity Line of Credit. So the way that this looks is that you buy a piece of estate, you invest 100,000 US dollars into the estate, you purchase it perhaps at, let us say, $500,000. You make an additional investment of $600,000 into the estate. The possibility exists that when you know what you're doing, the market value of that estate can now become $800,000. So immediately, what you have there is a $200,000 equity in that estate. And because of this, you can borrow against the equity. All right. You can take out the equity, $200,000. And when you understand what we're talking about here today, smart investment strategy, you're not taking out the equity to put it into a liability. You're taking out the equity to put it into an asset, an income producing asset. And all of this is possible when you have the right mentor, the right coach, the right sponsor, the right supportive community that is giving you the right information to succeed because they want you to win. That's why we design seven-figure media. We want to touch and transform the lives of businesses, yes, but we want to ensure that people have a better quality of life all over the world. There's also the concept that we call the BLOC, and the financial institution is asking you for 20%. So, of course, you have equity in the existing assets that you have that has over 200,000 in equity appreciation. You just need to take out 100,000 to get your 20% of what the financial institution is asking you for as your part of equity into that investment portfolio. You're not going to purchase another property, or you're not purchasing a property to show your friends that you can do this. You're not purchasing a property to go live inside of it or to put the side chick inside of it. You're purchasing the property because you are seeing possibilities. You're seeing many young persons who are promising they need office units. And what you do, you take the property and you outfit it with 6 office units. Some might be lawyers, some might be, in some specialized field that don't need a whole lot of space. And you create 6 streams of income by simply doing that. Guess what else? It doesn't take your time, it doesn't take your talent and your resources because the asset will sustain itself. You're busy, perhaps you're going to hire a super. And here is where you create a passive income stream here by acquiring assets with the right frame of thinking. The great book says, so as a man thinketh, so is he. Many persons you are thinking and lack limitation, doubts, and fear, and you become the product of lack, limitation, doubts, and fear. But when you start training the mind to understand how wealthy people think, so as a man thinketh, so is he. In 2025, I encourage you to open a new chapter to set yourself up for success. And we present to you income audit analytics. You need to assess your income against your future plans. And when you see your future plans cannot be achieved because you have a negative bank balance week after week, month after month, year after year, you must start to ask yourself, what are the smart investment strategies? You need to learn this entire ecosystem of the income audit analytics because it is your knowledge of this that's going to position you for greatness. You listen to learn, you learn to apply, you apply to master, you master to build wealth. You work to earn, you earn to save, you save to invest, you invest to build wealth. Are you mastering these techniques? The last concept that we're going to look at today is how to master wealth accumulation snowball. And let me quickly go through this. It begins by figuring out how to acquire one income producing asset. You got to start somewhere. Start with one. And then you influence force appreciation and natural appreciation. You're buying it deliberately to influence force appreciation and natural appreciation. And you see, when you're going about this process with the knowledge or with the right mentor, coach, sponsor, supportive communities, when you're acquiring this asset, you're already acquiring the asset with equity because you know the intention is to influence force and natural appreciation. Why? Because you want to leverage the equity and you want to leverage the asset appreciation. And where you're leveraging it to accumulate more income producing assets. There's a great mind, a great real estate investor, and his name is Robert Kiyosaki. He's the author for Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He was very poor, worked in the U.S. Army, a U.S. Army veteran, but was very poor. But he learned these hacks, and today he don't have one portfolio, 5 portfolio, 100 portfolios. He have perhaps multiple thousands of portfolios, income-producing assets that is generating daily, weekly, and monthly cash flow. We at Seven Figure Media, we want you to win in business, in life, in wealth creation. And that is our mission. So if we can give you all of this information free, think about what will happen when you come into our community. Because in our community, you're not only being taught the theory, you're being exposed to the practical. And we have built out relationship with multiple financial institutions. So if you're in the US, any state, 50 states, and you need access to capital to start your business, to invest in real estate portfolios, to build wealth, we know exactly where to point you. We know exactly who to talk to and how to negotiate to ensure that you have access to capital to move your vision forward. So 2025 should be a year of transformation in your life. But it's not enough for me to want your life to be transformed financially. It is equally important that you have this burning desire to want to be better financially. And once you come to the table of negotiation with that desire to win financially, Seven Figure Media and our team, we will set you up for success.